Three of us are meeting each other down here. There I go again, talking over Mr. Webb. That's right. Episode 11. Episode 11. Three of us are meeting each other down here in our man caves. Mr. Webb, how are you doing out there? My co-host, partner in crime.
You know what? There's a phrase said if I was doing any better, I'd be twins.
I've got to say,
I don't know what the fuck that means, but I assume that it means I'm feeling really good. I don't really fucking know what that means though. So I'll go with that.
And of course, the man himself, the legend, Andrew. Andrew, you have been missed here, sir. You have got some fans out there, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
No, I don't, but that's cool.
Yes, you do.
Man. We
Andrew.
missed you, man.
Nice.
Where you been?
It's good to be missed. It's good to be missed.
I kid you not. We may have a small audience right now, which is perfect. But I've had a couple people ask, "Where's Andrew been?"
He's been working, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Can only imagine.
How's everybody else been? How's the new man cave? I mean, let's hear about that. I mean, I see a little bit of it. I've heard there's been a few trials and tribulations along the way.
Oh, good Lord. You know, everybody sees it and they're like, you know, that'll be cool. I'll move out to the country. That'll be awesome. No, there's a shitload of stuff that comes with it. And it's like, oh, man.
That's cool, though. Those little life lessons that we learn sometimes, though. I know I've learned a few for sure.
It is what we wanted.
That's
and,
awesome.
I wouldn't take back a thing, but it's just like some of the stuff. God, I wish I had good internet. But we're not going to talk about it.
That's cool. Man, I honestly, staring at you now, it looks great. Looks great.
Well, I will take that. And thank you, sir.
Looks great.
Glad to see you
Yeah,
back
no
here.
doubt.
Love it, man.
I appreciate it. I'm going to take 2 seconds and let my little chimey dog out for a second. I'll be right back.
Who let the dogs out? Who brought this guy along?
Yeah, and I do have to give you a compliment too, Chris, on the I did see your ad on the mini split you're selling. So it's reaching all the way down here to OKC, so I just thought I'd let you know. I saw it that you're trying to sell a mini split. So how cool is that?
Well, hell, do you want
Well,
it?
I got, here's the thing. Here's the thing. That was my question for you. Is that I just don't know how many square footage will that heat and cool, that 18,000 BTU mini split.
They call them a whole bunch of things. I've had a learning lesson with that too. I didn't know anything about a fucking mini split. There's a ton, there's a ton and a half, and then there's a 2 ton. This is a ton and a half, which is 18,000 BTUs, and they recommend it up to about 1,000 square foot.
Okay. Yeah, I need a much bigger.
So it's
I
not
need
bad.
a much bigger one. I need something for like a 60 by 40 building to cool and heat it. So that's kind of what I'm looking for.
Okay.
It's probably going to require a few of them, or a bigger one, etc. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm sitting on 3 of them right
Holy
now.
smokes.
Well, one got installed, one got messed up, and then the other one is just in limbo.
Wow.
So I decided to sell it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
Well,
tell me a little bit about what you got going on behind you. I mean, it's my first time to see your spot.
Sweet
I don't even
Lord.
know if you have you even given a tour of your man cave since you've been on air. So, man,
We
Andrew,
have not done that yet.
You're batting 1,000 right now, Andrew. I had to say that real quick. You are batting 1,000, my friend. You are asking all the perfect questions tonight.
Yeah, I mean,
Awesome.
What's the illumination in the back? I mean, give us a little something on what you got going on.
Oh, they're LGBTQ lights. No, they're RGB.
Well, I can tell you guys are from Ohio. You got a little Dave Chappelle joke going in there.
No, I mean, they're cool. I can pretty much control it all with Bluetooth over my phone and stuff.
That's awesome.
Like it's Scott really liked that.
I feel like I've got an excuse to make a short video now.
Yeah, man, they're cool. They do all kinds of scenes and they fade and dim
That's what
and
she
do all the cool
said.
stuff. But
Well, in your case, or in everybody's
But-
case, that's what he said, right? But anyway,
I'm losing track here.
Are they just LEDs or what are they? Is it a sign?
They are LEDs. these fucking things right here. These hexagon
Yeah, that's what I'm
things,
asking
they're
about. Yeah.
Those are a pain in the ass, man. You got to like fit those together and like all. You got to basically go to a geometry class just to fucking put those together. It's fucking ridiculous. But
I think
That's
that
great.
beer from episode 10 is kicking in. Sorry.
speaking of, what is everybody drinking?
What the fuck you drinking?
Well, I actually, if I must say, I went and had fried chicken this afternoon with my father and twins and my mother. And me and my dad had probably, I don't know, we had 4 or 5 beers there when we had chicken today. So, but I was getting ready to pop another beer myself.
Chicken.
Ooh,
Which I don't
So-
drink very much with you guys. So I thought, well, why not have a beer tonight with you guys?
Hell yeah.
So, Andrew, we do have a part of our podcast here that we started in season 2. It's called What the Fuck You Drinking? So, that's
Love it.
that's what we got going.
Love it. Well, let me get mine then. Hold on one second.
I will fill the dead air. We are Fatheads Brewery, and it's called Fresh Hop Freddy.
Fresh Hop Freddy. Ooh, Fender.
You can't.
I'm
Yeah.
okay. Fresh Hop
You can't
Freddy.
make this shit up. You
Chris?
can't make it up.
So for all you diabetics out there, here is a Corona Premier, which only has 2.5 grams. Let me plug Corona Premier.
You know what? I've had a few of those, and they are not bad.
Yeah, they're all right. It just keeps the carbs down on me, so my blood sugar doesn't spike as bad as it would if I did have a regular beer. 2.6 carbs, excuse me.
If you have to travel out of the country and they don't have that Corona, make sure you check out the Heineken Lighter Silvers because same thing with the carbs and light. So, one of my personal favorites. What am I drinking? Well, besides Jameson Orange, I do have an empty glass.
That means
That
it's
is
time
one
for
thing
something
about
new.
you, Scott. You always double fist it. You do.
Mm-hmm.
You do. So there's nothing wrong with
That's
that.
right. Well,
That's a compliment. You got both drinks, man.
I'll take them as I can. Let me
That's
see
right.
here. Let's see here.
One fist ain't enough.
It needs to be double fisted. This week on
There's still room in there. There's still room. We're good.
I'm going to do something here in honor for Chris's new man cave. And of course, Andrew, thank you once again for joining us here, meeting us here down in the man cave. We have missed you, bud. We really have.
Sure.
And you have firing away on, like I said, batting 1,000. Because I did wanted to ask Chris in episode 10, and I completely forgot, how's the heat working out? But before I do that, what the fuck am I drinking? As I said in the honor of Mr. Webb here, some Ryan Guy, since that is his favorite. I seen this on the top shelf at our local grocery store. It is a rose fruited ale.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
Is that made in Ohio?
Yes. Chris, could you
Okay.
help
Yep,
explain?
Cincinnati. Rose, that is an ale.
Mhm.
I've only had the sour.
Ooh, look at the
sour
color.
ale.
Yeah. Oh, pink.
Yeah.
Now the sour ale, I really did love. I thought that was good. I'm not too big on the fruit beers, but man, they got a good thing going on with that. I have not had this one, so Scott will have to tell me about that.
As Chris was stating, yes, Rheingeist is out of Cincinnati, Ohio, which is basically our sister city down south from us, which is really depending on where you're at in the Dayton, Miami Valley area. Sometimes it's 45 minutes, sometimes it's an hour away. Dayton was actually a suburb of Cincinnati long, but we're not here for a history lesson. Look at that. This is a beer.
Isn't that crazy? I will tell you, I had a client one day that brought me some, and I tried it, and it was pretty terrible, I must say. But I have it sitting over here. I may have to show you guys. But it was some strawberry nonsense that they were brewing out here in Oklahoma City somewhere. I tried it one night, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's terrible."
9 when I was talking about your senses, I do that, and usually if it doesn't smell good, it's
different, isn't it, Scott? Come on, be honest. It's different.
Oh.
Yeah, that speaks volumes.
For individuals out there
that's bitter beer face.
Like trying to think of an ingredient right now that's definitely in this.
Bitter beer face.
Vinegar.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Vinegar.
I'm tasting some vinegar in this.
Ugh.
And you're right, Andrew. Bitter. I'm not a big, for people who like vinegar, probably would like this. But see, I have this thing about alcohol abuse. I will not dump this down the drain.
Yeah, that's why the others are still sitting over in my fridge.
Man. Vinegar. I didn't see that coming.
It's a citrus vinegar. Actually, it tastes better the second time around. Hold on here. I'll help it.
It's gonna taste a whole lot better the 7th time.
See, a lot of people, when they have their whiskeys or their whatever shot, they got to have something to backwash that flavor. Those you have like a soda, another beer or whatever. Like they take that shot. Oh, I need something to, me, I'm the opposite. If the beer ain't right, I go to the whiskey to take care of the, okay, it's okay. We'll be all right. It's okay.
It's your palate cleanser.
Yeah.
So on a 1 to 10 scale, Scott, let's be honest. Where does she lie?
I'm not buying her breakfast. Ain't buying her dinner, but I'll give her a 3.5.
There you go.
But you're not kicking her out of the bed.
Obviously not. It's going down his throat.
As you can tell, it's been a long time.
He says, "Come over here."
Chris, as I was stating in our past episodes, I always have this thing about, what would I like the last one in episode 10, Warped Wing, which by the way is located out of Dayton, Ohio, and about 5 minutes away from where I live because they have one in Heber Heights. This was really good. It's definitely a summer beer. Chris recommended, and I do like if you enjoy steak, something out in the barbecue, very good. This, believe it or not, if you have some fruit next to you, this beer might taste better.
Damn, really? That's crazy.
So the one in the green can, Scott, is it an ale?
Yep. It's a pale ale. I'm trying to think of a beer that I've had. It's been a while in the summertime. As I state that, it's not going to do any good. I'll put it up on the screen. So Andrew, if you care to watch your podcast later, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Cool.
That's one thing I love about editing. If I can't remember it now, then I'll put a graphic on the screen. But
you can tag it.
Yeah, this tastes better after. But first, oh god, there's like strong vinegar flavor, and vinegar and beer. You know what? Let's get on to some other stuff. I don't want to make people sad out there. I want to help people feel good. Andrew, you've already making people feel good. I do have to ask real quick, when you were talking about the splitter there, Webb, because I forgot to ask you in episode 10, how is it feeling right now in your man cave?
Oh, well, you're going to love this. This is a good story. Turns out the guy that was installing the mini splits, he came to the barn section, and you have to drill out the line set with about it's about a 3-inch hole saw.
Okay.
So he went to drill out the line set, and sure enough, man, he fucking went straight into the electrician's wire, and the whole power cord that was powering the unit outside, yeah, it's fucking toast. He mangled up that whole fucking
He's lucky
thing.
to be
So
alive. I guess the line wasn't hot.
I do not have heat.
Dear
Still.
Lord. Thankfully, it's
It's
warmer this
on
weekend.
the wall. Oh, it's on the wall, but man, yeah, it's not operational. Our electrician said he can fix it, but he came down with bronchitis, so it's going to be a while for him.
Yeah.
And you know,
it's above freezing
those are the
right
breaks,
now.
man.
So yeah, God,
Oh yeah,
man.
it feels great.
Webb, you've been. I feel. Man,
I've been through the ringer, ain't I?
yeah. But it's starting to pay off. And Andrew, you did ask maybe 10 minutes ago about more or less getting a tour. I'm paraphrasing your words here. Could you ask that again? I'm sorry, Andrew, about seeing the actual.
No. I just let's check it out. Let's see what we're working with here, Chris.
So most recently, I do have to thank the wife because I will do some airbrushing on a mask, but I am not good at painting. Kind of suck at painting. So she came out.
I'm glad you brought that up.
The bar is now. It's hard to tell, but it's a kind of a dark green color we went with.
Oh, nice.
And then we're gonna polyurethane the top of it. Give it about 20, 30 coats. I don't know, Scott. A lot of coats,
Sounds
right?
like a lot of work.
Just what I would do from like my bar, and it's got over 20 years of experience. Just put a coat on it, sand it, coat it, sand it, at least 12 if you want to have at least 20 years experience of it being okay. Of course, you've got experience with woodwork. I don't need to tell you this, but it's seems to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's turning out real nice, and I love it. And now, the wife has put her hands on it. My mom helped me build it. I'm gonna have both of them sign it at the end.
That's awesome.
It's special.
That's a cool deal. Everyone's got their little hand in it. That's cool.
Yes.
I've always stated that your bar needs to have a name. And my bar, as you guys pretty much probably figured out by now what its name is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I suggested to Chris he needs to name his bar. And mother's maiden name is tradition. So Mr. Webb. I'm practicing with Mr. Webb because we may have a future guest, Mr. Morgan. So I got to make sure I do Morgan and Webb right, not Morgan and Wells. So Mr. Webb, could you give us, is there a finalization on the name of your bar?
Yeah, I'm set on that. It's gonna be Murphy's.
What's the history behind the name, Chris? I mean, where did you?
Oh, it's my mother's maiden name.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
My grandma was Irene Murphy.
Okay.
And then my mom was Jennifer Murphy. Now she's Jennifer.
So it
Webb.
shows homage to both sides of your family then, in a way. Yeah, very cool.
And here in Ohio,
I'll stick with it.
We've got our German and our Irish heritage here, so that works out pretty good.
It is cool.
Better believe it.
I'm English Irish, Chris? So go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, good for you.
Good for me.
God save the Queen. God save the Queen. No, Irene, when you mentioned that, my half brother, in other words, my mom actually has two kids, me and another. His grandmother's name was Irene. So
us Appalachians.
She's from Moorhead, Kentucky. And she pronounces ketchup catsup.
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 My Moorhead. Oh man.
Yeah, don't we need a little bit of it?
Forget. I mean, my grandma's from Kentucky as well, but I just don't know where.
Sorry.
You better quit. All right, stop it.
You know what? All kidding aside here, hey, Andrew, I got to ask you a question, and then I'm going to try to zip it a little bit because that's what I'm working on.
You're good,
Andrew. If you don't mind talking a little bit of shop here,
sure.
With your
questions
profession,
do you guys have? Absolutely.
Andrew, if you don't mind me asking, what is your profession again?
I handle real estate. I'm a real estate advisor here in the state of Oklahoma City for a company named Engel and Volkers, right downtown Oklahoma City. I've been doing it since 2 or 3 years, and it has been just pretty amazing. It's given me some freedom that I have never had before, so I thoroughly enjoy it. It helps me get to meet people. You become, you kind of become more drawn in the community to do things, help others. It's just been a really rewarding profession. So, I came from, and we may have discussed it in the past, but, I was a flight attendant back in the late 90s all the way to 2002. I was in the Air 911. From there, I worked for Honda for about 14 years. And then I went into oil and gas, and from there I got into real estate. And so, it's been nothing but a blessing. So I've thoroughly enjoyed it. But if you guys have any questions about it, fire away. Of course, I know Chris has gone through it just recently. And, it's a huge, I always try to pre-warn my clients too, always try to let them know up front that, hey, this is going to be a lot of work. It's going to have some ups and downs, and you just need to be prepared. Sometimes things run smoothly and other times they don't. And you just need to I always try to mentally prepare my client, up front. And then ultimately I try to, once I meet someone, try to get them to ultimately, if they don't plan on paying cash, ultimately try to get them under financing, as quickly as possible. So they're pre-approved and ready to go. Because ultimately, if we're just out shopping for houses without a pre-approval, then, that does us no good. So, you always want to have that pre-approval if you plan on financing. That way you're ready to make an offer when you find something. So, but if you guys have any questions about it, I'd be happy to answer anything.
I'm going to start with a general question, because I'm sure a lot of people wonder. Interest rates right now.
Steep.
What is your contention on that?
They are coming down.
As well as I was going to ask you, do you see them having a downward trend at any time soon?
Well, they've already started to come down. The market is already here in my market here, which my market thrives pretty hard. I'm going to just be honest with you. I mean, Oklahoma City is one of the thrivingest markets in our 50 United States because the cost to live here is so cheap. And so people all around the country see that. They've educated themselves, and now they're just flooding in here. I mean, it's nuts. It's really nuts. And I mean, I always tell local people anytime, or clients, we talk about it. But you look around now on I-40, I mean, that's a big highway all the way from coast to coast. I mean, I can't tell you on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I can count probably at least 20 to 30 California tags I see. I see a lot of Pennsylvania tags. I see a lot of New York tags. And those are clients, so not only do I see those tags, but I mean, I've had clients from those areas moving in here, even still working from that, space where they work remotely. So they get their New York or California pay, and now they can work remotely and live in Oklahoma City, where it's much cheaper to live. It just makes sense. I mean, anybody with common sense, they're just going to do that. So I've had a lot of that. But yes, please ask away. I was going to look up interest rates right now here locally.
I mean, just comparatively, I think we bought our old house in 2013. Okay. I don't know why it was in such a slump right then, but we came in at, I think it was 2.8. Right. Why? Like, and going from that, which we still haven't sold that yet. So it's like, that sucks. But to now, I mean, I think we signed this house, I think we were at 7.5.
Well, and I think you were probably seeing a little of the after effects of, 08, 09, where the housing market on the East and West Coast kind of tanked, back then. And not necessarily for the interest rates, but that's just where it was. Banks were loaning money to people that couldn't afford those properties whatsoever.
Oh my God.
And so that's why the market, you had so many foreclosures. And that's just a tiny bit of research that I've just done on my own and remembering it from when I lived it, and had people that I knew that lived out in Las Vegas, Phoenix, and those areas that, some people were, given mortgages that should have never even been given a mortgage, but were, and that's why you had so many foreclosures.
That's crazy. I just can't, Okay. To follow up on that, do you see, because I guess there's a weird point. Like, yeah, we signed this house at 7.5,
Right.
but our financier, whatever he's called, he recommended
Your finance company that you use to finance your mortgage, correct? Right.
Yes. It wasn't exactly refinancing, but it was whenever they see it, a downward trend of the interest rates to come back in. Is it re-signing? I don't know.
He wants you to just basically come back and refinance it. Okay, so to refinance a property just knowing your history, Chris, you're not going to have any issues. I mean, you've got a great job. You've been there a long time. That's one thing that they're going to look at. Already, you said you signed at 7.5. Here, the average rate here in Oklahoma City is 6.625. So, it's already come down almost over a full point from where you were at and where you signed at. So what I would do is just keep an eye on the market really close. Keep an idea what the Fed says. Watch that very closely. And watch when that interest rate starts to really drop. Now, keep in mind, it's going to probably cost you anywhere from, I don't know, and this is just shooting from the hip. I don't know your situation or how you financed it, what type of loan and all that stuff, but I'm just guessing, okay? So it's going to probably cost you anywhere from $5 to $15,000 to refinance it. However, over the long term of that note, it'll be a much cheaper payment, and it will just be way better, especially if you can get yourself somewhere even in the fives. You know what I mean? So I think we're going to see something like that towards the summer, potentially somewhere, hopefully in the fives. For me personally, I would definitely want to see where it is around June and then start really hitting the market because, come August, after August, everything starts to trend down. And I would assume that probably, we're going to see a big different market this year too because of the new, and I'm not getting political, but we do, this is an election year. And so we're going to see a big difference here coming up because, Biden's going to try to stay in office and then Trump, he's going to try to do his thing. So it's going to be crazy, but I would just keep an eye on it around mid-June really hard, because you might be able to come in June and maybe it might be worth taking the risk to refinance it maybe then because you might be able to save yourself 2.5 points there. You know what I mean? That's just a guess.
That's what I was wondering. Like, how do you know when it's settling into a spot, whether it's going to rise or it's going to fall?
Well, you kind of have to know you have to have a more stable market in the fact that it's not a buyers or sellers. It's just kind of more stable. That's what I would say. So that's just my thought process on that is you want to have more of a stable market versus a buyers or sellers market. But even in one of those markets, I will say, you still, just a personal opinion, you can keep a pretty steady rate. You do know what the Fed's doing. You do know where the rates are. So usually that information's, in this day and age with these little jewels, we can do anything. We can find anything.
Right.
And so I would just keep an eye, maybe start looking at some apps, that might give you rates on a daily. I'm a realtor, so I get those daily, but find something for someone like, like yourself that's not a realtor that you can kind of keep an eye on that and, just follow it closely because really I don't know what you paid for your house and I don't want to know. But on the flip side of the coin, you can do the math in a sense that the difference between 5% and 7.5% over a 30-year mortgage is huge. And especially over a 15-year mortgage, it's really huge. So just keep an eye on it and refinance it. I've been saying that for the last year. Buy now because here's the thing. When the rates really drop, the market of the houses is going to go way up. So that's something else to think about.
That's so crazy because it already seems high.
I know.
And that means, and not to interrupt either one of you. Folks, if you're listening to this or watching right now and this is a very because it's an extremely important and interesting subject that we're getting into here. And if you live in southwestern Ohio, maybe around Montgomery County, in fact, are you looking to move into Montgomery County in a nice location? Chris, where are you and Natalie advertising your home right now? Seriously, you've got this house that you want to sell. Where could they find information on where they could look at your old house?
We've had several renovations. We are at 601 North Main Street in Union, Ohio, 45322. I mean, you know, it's a 1940s house. It's a little older, but the difference in the market that I'm seeing is crazy. I mean,
The location is gorgeous. By the way.
Without going into too many specifics, I don't really care. I don't have any secrets or anything like that. We bought the house for $89 in July 2013. And coming into where we're coming into now, it appraises for up around like 200,000.
That's what I was going to say, too. Yep.
That's insane to me, man.
And well, my house where I'm currently sitting right now in 2016, it was 72.5. Now it's at 151. And but
so crazy.
Not about my house, but with yours, Chris. His location, I personally have been there. It's a beautiful location. It's a great place. If this is like, say, your first time buying a home, it's a great place to raise a family. It's right across the street from one of 9 metro parks. There's tons of work around that area. It's a great family environment. And you mentioned the address. I could put a link to where you actually have your house, Facebook or wherever you're posting this, because naturally, I mean, Chris owns he has 2 mortgages. So he wants to sell you his old house. It's not that it's a bad house. It's just he wants 2 mortgages. He's not a Kardashian, if you know what I mean. So
I've moved on, folks.
Yeah.
Do you have that house on Marketplace there as well, on Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah, I'm leaving that up to my realtor. She's taking care of all that, but she has it on Marketplace. Cool. Yeah, we have so many people seeing it. It's just this time of year,
it's tough.
I would think it'd be the best time. Honestly, I know in the summer that's when you get out because it's warmer and warmer and warmer. Keeping warm in mind from experience of buying a home where I should have been more careful. Now I'm thinking, I want to go look at houses in Ohio in the winter where, wait a minute, I'm walking in here and it's warm. These windows. I could tell these windows are great because, yes, they look brand new, but they're doing their job. And that furnace, holy shit, this place is warm. And I've been in here for 45 minutes and I've hardly heard that furnace kick on. To me, that's a huge sell.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't know. It's just, these are little things. Andrew, being a realtor,
I was going to say, I can't speak for folks in Ohio. The only thing I could think of is maybe folks just don't want to move in the winter. That's the only thing I could think of.
People, I think it's everywhere in the United States. Yeah. Everywhere in the United States, it's common in the spring, summer, and the fall, I would imagine. That's, Andrew, when you're your busiest. It's the same here.
And I've had to adjust my whole life around that. I mean, as my old boss told me years and years ago, he said, always keep your Ferris wheel full. And he meant, make sure that you've done your due diligence because that, October through February is going to be a little slow because there's not going to be much foot traffic out here. And that's when I was in the car business. So same with real estate, in my opinion. But again, it's a lot easier to move down here. We don't see as much snow and that sort of thing. So, and it doesn't get quite as cold as it does up usually, except for the last couple of weeks for this subarctic front that's come in. That's been quite weird.
See, that's fucking perfect because we fucking put it up like October 21st, I believe.
Well, be patient, Chris. I will tell you honestly and truthfully, I really feel like, I feel like you have about another month and a half of just holding on tight, and come March is going to roll around. And I think you're going to, people are going to start looking, people are going to start thinking, okay, we're going to be moving, and they're going to start looking. So just hang tight, because typically come around March, that's usually when business starts to pick up. No matter what field you're in, whether it be RV sales, boat sales, real estate, cars, motorcycles, especially, just things of that nature usually tend to pick up around March to, the end of September. And then you've got those hard months, October through February.
We had one was pending for about a week there. And then we did end up going through inspections and everything else. And they were VA. Which, see that face?
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
I can go into that with you right now. I mean, I'm living it right now. So,
they've backed out.
Well,
now.
And my deal is going to go through. I'm probably 99% sure. But keep in mind, this deal happened in September. Look what month we're in.
Oh, God.
And so my client's pretty upset. He had just got an email this morning. He's not upset with me. He's upset with the mortgage. So I can't go into too much detail other than to say it was just a VA assumption loan. And so we've done everything we can do on our end, and we're waiting on this mortgage company on the seller's side, I guess, that he had the loan with is terrible. I mean, they are absolutely terrible. And so once, it looks like it's going to be mid-February before we finally close for these folks, unfortunately. And those are the ones that hurt because I have zero control over that. And, I've even talked with people that have been in the business for 20 and 30 years that have never gone through this experience that I've gone through with this client. And it's just unfortunate. And it's another VA issue that unfortunately you get into those types of loans and it just seems like the employees think they can take their sweet old time with it. And it's frustrating. So I can agree with you there. It is frustrating. But I think, I'm sure your realtor has probably expressed the same thing that I've said, that, it's just kind of sometimes that time of year, unfortunately. I hate to say that and be the bearer of bad news, but I think come March, I think it'll probably go under again. Who knows? It may go under before that. So,
yeah, she's actually dealt with this realtor before, and he's backed out 3 times on her. So this was the 3rd time that he backed out on her.
Well, and it's not really the realtor's fault, though. It's not really.
No.
Yeah, it's not the realtor's fault. It's obviously his clients.
It's VA,
but
it's rough, man. They are.
It's all your fault, Andrew.
Still like it is sometimes. But
the stress.
That's what I try telling my client that I've been dealing with. I pride myself on customer service, and I have been unable to provide them with the level of customer service that I normally provide for pretty much every one of my clients. And I haven't been unable to do it because I'm kind of have my hands tied with this mortgage company that's in Indiana. And they won't give me any information.
Fuck.
Yeah, they won't give me any information. I can't find out any information. They won't give me anything. And what's funny about the other thing is they don't want to really give the seller any information. So it's just been a headache. So usually when I find out something
at this point,
damn Hoosiers.
It is terrible. It is terrible. It's been the worst experience as an agent that I've ever had with a mortgage company, unfortunately. So, sometimes we all deal with it, just to let you know, it's not a cheap house either. So, it's a pretty expensive house. And so once that deal closes, that's a nice check for me. So, it's been a long time coming, and it's just frustrating sometimes when you have people that slow play you like that, unfortunately.
It's got to be.
And not only for you, but for the client too, because the client's ready to close on it. And, I failed to mention too, the client's already in the property. He's paying rent to the seller since September. So he's paying probably over what his actual payment would typically be.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's paying a mortgage also here and a mortgage in Georgia. So he closes on that house. It's been a fiasco, to say the least. And I've had zero control over any of it. And then that's the frustrating thing as a realtor. is that how do you convey that to your client? And he knows, because he's like, I've been doing all this work, and he knows. He told me, he reaffirmed me the other night. He's like, I know it's not your fault because you want to get paid, So I've really actually got a great client that understands. He's very intelligent. He's very smart. He's highly intelligent, I should say. And so he understands it. But, before I finish that, sometimes there's people that don't understand it, you know what I mean? And don't get what's going on. And so to have him understand what's going on has been a blessing. But, that's the frustrating thing for me, too, is that you just want to give that level of customer service. And then when it's out of your hands, that's the frustrating thing about it. And again, I would say that's, maybe 2% of the time. 98% of the time, it's either going to be a conventional loan, FHA loan, which you can cross some bridges there on an FHA loan because things have to be a certain way with an FHA loan. And if not, then they're not going to finance it. So there's different rules with different types of loans. Go ahead, Scott. Looks like you had a question.
And may I add, I was a first time, and if I could do it, and I'm being serious, if I can do it, anybody can. That's willing to work hard for what they want. This is going to maybe answer some questions out there for a first time buyer. I hear a lot over the past, let's say 2 years, I'll round it off. Renting today seems like it's crazy. It's the price that you pay for renting is far beyond it's how do people survive? Andrew, do you deal with renters, or in other words, I'll ask again, do you deal with people that are buying, and do you also deal with customers that want to rent?
Well, unfortunately, I sell homes, so I don't rent them. However, unless I invest in the house, there's houses that you can invest in by yourself. And that's what I was going to encourage to people is that, yes, renting, I don't recommend it. However, I do recommend if you want to invest in real estate and rent to people that all they want to do is rent, I recommend it because that's wealth, in my opinion. If you can invest in property and rent it, and you can get into a portfolio of homes, and that can be a lot of wealth at some point. So that's another recommendation. However, I did want to plug one other thing. There's sometimes people don't have the best of credit. Sometimes they don't have any credit.
And it's not hard to fix.
Right. And I will say,
hard to fix.
Yeah, and I have programs out there. I don't know about in Ohio, but we have lease to purchase options here in Oklahoma City that help people. So I don't recommend it for everybody, but there are people that can lease the house.
I had a poor credit score at one time and fixed it in 6 months.
That's awesome.
I'm not going to give all the details, but I'm being brutally honest. I had a poor credit score in 6 months. I fixed it because I focused on it. I didn't have to do the impossible. I just took advice from someone like Andrew, one-on-one. I did it. I didn't, best way I can describe it is I didn't put too much on my plate. I focused on one thing at a time. I took advice like someone from Andrew, and in 6 months, I was like, holy shit. Why do I want to rent?
Right.
I'm throwing my money away. I want to buy a home.
Right. And that's why
fix your credit. Fix your credit.
That's right. Yeah, and that's that program with that lease to purchase is that sometimes, like I said, I have folks that don't have credit or they have bad credit. And as long as you can come up with 7% down, typically I usually can get you in a house, even with bad credit. So, it all depends on that particular company that does that loan for you, but it also helps you become mortgage ready. And then once you become mortgage ready, that company gives you that 7% cash back. And then you put that as your down payment to put the house actually in your name. So there's different ways around things for folks out there just to kind of plug that. A lot of people are unaware of it. But, if and I'm unaware if it's even in Ohio, it's just something we do here in Oklahoma sometimes for folks that don't have the best credit or don't have any credit.
The best advice on someone who knows what they're talking about, and you can go from there. 100%. Andrew, I don't want to cut this subject any short. I know, Chris, do you have any other important questions that you feel that you need to ask, especially selfishly plugging the house that you're trying to sell?
I don't want to come across as desperate. I know that the house is nice. I know it has nice amenities. I don't want to come across as desperate. I mean, it's going to sell what it's going to sell. I can't do anything about it,
I just thought, you know what?
It'll be okay.
Opportunity to ask questions. And anybody that is meeting down in a man cave, they're going to talk about horror. They're going to talk about cars. They're going to talk about music. They're going to talk about random shit that involves, and fuck, man, I want to get a house or I want to sell a house. And that's not why we had Andrew join us. But I figure why not? Let's talk shop a little bit.
For sure.
I will say there is a nice little, the beginnings of a mask pit downstairs in the basement. You could go ahead and you could start your own mask making right there.
You know, that Chris, I'm glad you brought that up. Andrew, we didn't forget about you, by the way.
I know.
We did not forget it. We did not forget about your H6.
Oh
no.
Okay.
No it's worries, just I've had my whole life turned upside down.
It sounds like it. No worries. That's the last thing to worry about.
But yes, anybody can go back and see that. Andrew definitely has an H6 coming to him.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
And
no worries though.
And Chris and I have talked about a giveaway of an H6. We're still living up to that, folks. It's just Mother Nature has been a factor, and and I'll be honest, we're kind of waiting to do this in I don't know if you want to call it a Murphy's Den mask pit. Trust me, we will have that giveaway, and we will have, we haven't, like I stated, Andrew, we haven't forgot about that. We want to give you an H6. Trust me, it's still there. It's just we've been, Mother Nature hasn't been kind as well. So
no worries,
we haven't forgot about you.
No worries at all.
Yeah, we talked shop. Andrew, is there anything else that you wanted to say about your profession?
Well, one thing that I would like to say that I don't think enough young people hear is that, look, if you may not even like it, but it's one way to create wealth, and it's one thing to look into, especially for young people. I would say anywhere from 16 all the way up to 25. Look at real estate. It is a great way to make a great living and have lots of freedom and be a pillar of your community and make, a lot of money enjoying helping people. You know what I mean? And that's, sometimes you don't make anything sometimes, but you're still helping people, and that's the rewarding part of it. So that's what I would have to say, is that it's a great job, especially for someone that doesn't want to go to 4 years worth of college. It's a great job right out of high school. And you can even take your exam, I believe, right before you're 18. I think that's in all 50 states. You can't be licensed until you're 18, but once you can take it prior to that. And then once you turn 18, then you take your final exam, and then you can become a provisional agent. But anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
Very cool. I've met, this whole house buying extravaganza. I've met couple realtors that are genuinely invested in their customers. They want to see their customers win, and I can appreciate that, man. Like it's good people in the real estate industry that I feel like you guys deserve.
Well, and I appreciate that. One thing that I like about real estate versus the car business is that it's a night and day different game, and you don't have people necessarily going, "Oh my God, here he comes." You know what I mean? Like they do when they start walking on the lot, and you actually are helping people, when they don't think that I've helped a few folks that didn't even think they could ever own a home, buy a home. I tell them my lease to purchase, program, and they're able to buy a home. They're like, we never thought, here they're in their 50s or 60s, and so that's what's really cool about the, profession, is that you're able to help people.
What a good feeling, man. You help those people get what they wanted. Then what a good feeling. Everybody wins.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a great gig. And I always try to stress to the young people, because and that was the whole reason behind that is that had I started it back in 2003 when I started working for Honda, I would be probably retired now. Truthfully, I would probably be retired. Going back 21 years ago, I'd be retired, especially from my little, the young kid and his girlfriend doing my training class with me. I mean, they're just, they're making such good money, and they're socking most of it away. And, add 20 years to that and being successful, he's going to be able to be retired, 20 years from now. So,
Shit.
yeah. But live and learn,
That's
live and learn.
crazy. Yep.
Speaking of Honda, Andrew,
Yes, sir.
in the future, as it gets a little bit warmer, I'm going to be trying to push Chris Webb, and you'll get to see another part of the section of the man cave where I'm hoping we can get Mr. Webb here to talk about a little bit more about his Honda, his other baby.
Nice.
And get some of his, some of his friends to come over and
there's mine, Chris.
That are
The old garage out there.
Chris.
Chris, you lost your signal. He lost his signal there, Andrew.
Oh, there we go.
Your
Okay,
cable
hold
cat.
on.
There we go.
Up.
You guys are like dictating each other.
It went too far. It went too far.
I wished I had a Type R, but I don't. I went with the SI.
But Andrew, I'm hoping that we could get you to join us, via satellite, because I have this vision in my head. Now, for all of you, for guys that are car enthusiasts, and I want to get more car enthusiasts that enjoy our podcast, because I envision Chris sporadically having a special podcast over at his place where he has himself, maybe one of his close friends like Jameson or his nephew or his, where they're talking about subject matters with the cars. And I just want to, I'm thinking out loud right now.
I've got a real cool spot up in the loft right above here. It's an open loft and you can see right down into the engine bay and everything, like the whole thing going on.
Well, I thoroughly enjoyed working for Honda. It was a cool company to work for, and I'm a firm believer of that product, highly.
So there you go, guys. For you car enthusiasts, look forward to these conversations, these visuals down the road here at Meet Us in the Man Cave, because we're not just Meyer horse shit. We are cars. Well, at least I try to help the car guy over here.
You know what else?
I look at the old cars and I'm trying to get my
music. Music needs
music.
Help.
I will. You know what? Hopefully, we could either finish out the last few minutes of this podcast. Would you guys want to talk about some music here, and then we can end episode 11, if you don't mind?
Sure.
There's always a beginning, and there's always a middle, and there's an end. Chris and I want to thank you for listening or watching Meet Us in the Man Cave. Since you enjoyed watching us, make sure you want to tell all your friends about us, subscribe today, and click on that notification bell. It's going to be helping you being reminded when our next episode is uploaded or even possibly a live stream video. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course, YouTube. You can listen or download to Meet Us in the Man Cave on your favorite podcasting app, available to stream or download so you can listen to us all you want, whenever you want. For more information, go to meetusinthemancave.podbean.com.